People think deep-sea gigantism is about size and monsters. It is not. It is about distortion. As you dive deeper, animals do not just get bigger. They stretch. They hollow themselves out. Limbs grow too long. Mouths grow too wide. Familiar shapes begin to look unfinished and alien, like something pulled apart and left that way. If getting bigger is supposed to help life survive in the deep, why does it start to look like everything down there is slowly breaking the rules of biology? At first, deep-sea gigantism makes sense. In cold water, larger bodies lose heat more slowly. Bigger animals can store energy for longer periods, survive months without food, and grow at a pace that matches an environment where meals are rare and unpredictable. Early examples fit the story nicely. Giant isopods look like oversized pillbugs. Giant crabs resemble their shallow water cousins, just scaled up. Even giant squid with their enormous bodies and long arms still feel recognizable. But those creatures come from the upper and mid-depths of the deep sea. They live in places where food still drifts down regularly, where movement is possible, and where muscle and speed still matter. As you descend further, those rules begin to collapse. Pressure increases relentlessly. At 1,000 meters, it is already enough to crush most human-made equipment. At 4,000 meters, pressure becomes the dominant force shaping everything. By the time you reach abyssal depths, weight no longer comes from gravity. It comes from water itself. Bones, shells, and muscles stop being reliable ways to hold shape. That's when gigantism changes. Deep down, you find fragile forms that rely on pressure to keep their structure. Many deep-sea giants are not dense at all. They are mostly water, supported by the very force that would destroy surface life. Remove that pressure, and these animals collapse like deflated balloons. Here, gigantism stops looking powerful and starts looking unsettling. Take deep-sea amphipods. Near the surface, these shrimp-like creatures are small and quick. In the deep, some species grow to the size of a human forearm. But they are not muscular. They are thin, pale, and almost translucent. Their bodies are built to absorb oxygen slowly through large surface areas, not to sprint or fight. Their size is not about dominance. It is about endurance in an environment where nothing happens quickly. The deeper you go, the more exaggerated this becomes. Limbs grow longer because longer limbs increase surface area, helping with oxygen uptake in water where oxygen is scarce. Bodies become softer because rigid structures crack under pressure. Speed disappears because moving fast wastes energy that cannot be replaced easily. These animals are not built to chase. They are built to wait. And that waiting shapes everything. Food in the deep ocean arrives as falling debris, dead plankton, and carcasses. It doesn't come often, and when it does, it may be the only meal an animal sees for weeks or months. Deep-sea gigantism responds to this by building storage, not strength. Huge stomachs, expandable jaws, bodies that can swell to accommodate whatever arrives, no matter the size. This is why mouths become one of the most disturbing features of deep-sea giants. At extreme depths, many animals have jaws that look far too large for their bodies. Some, like the gulper eel, can unhinge their mouths and swallow prey nearly as big as themselves. In a place where rejecting food could mean starvation, being selective is a liability. These animals aren't hunters in the way we imagine. They're opportunists, shaped by scarcity. And then there is the fragility. The deeper giants often have thinner exoskeletons, weaker muscles, and gelatinous tissue, for example, the blobfish. Their bodies are designed to exist, not to endure damage. They rely on the fact that few predators can afford to move quickly or aggressively at these depths. Violence is expensive in the abyss. Evolution responds by making bodies cheap to maintain, even if they look wrong to us. This is the part people miss when they imagine deep sea monsters. Gigantism down here is not a triumph. It is a compromise. These animals are not bigger because the deep rewards strength. They are bigger because being small is even worse. A larger body buys time. Time between meals. Time between movement. Time to react slowly instead of instantly. As depth increases, evolution becomes less concerned with elegance, symmetry, or power, and more concerned with simply staying intact long enough for the next piece of food to fall out of the darkness. That is why deep-sea gigantism becomes creepier the deeper you go. Not because the animals are trying to be frightening, but because survival itself starts to look unfinished. Down there, life is not sculpted into clean shapes. It is stretched, thinned, and held together just well enough to keep going. The deeper you go, the less gigantism looks like growth, and the more it looks like something from another world. Beyond the abyssal plane, where depths push past 4,000 meters, life enters a zone where movement itself becomes optional. Energy is so scarce that even swimming slowly can cost more than an animal will recover in days. Here, gigantism no longer serves speed or strength. It becomes scaffolding, a frame that holds just enough tissue to keep the organism alive. This is where bodies stop looking balanced. Take the giant sea spider. Despite the name, it is not bulky or powerful. Its body is tiny compared to its legs, which can stretch wider than a dinner plate. Those legs are not for chasing prey. They are hollow, filled with organs, and used to absorb oxygen directly from the water. The animal's size comes not from muscle, but from necessity. The deeper it lives, the more its body spreads outward, becoming thinner, stranger, and harder to recognize as an animal at all. Some giants stretch, others inflate like the blobfish, often mocked for its collapsed appearance at the surface, and look entirely different at depth. In its natural environment, hundreds of meters down, it appears normal, suspended by pressure, supported by water. Its gelatinous body is not a flaw, it is a solution. Muscles are expensive. Bone is risky. Soft tissue allows the animal to exist without wasting energy, fighting gravity or pressure. As depth increases, eyes begin to disappear. The barrelized deeper relatives and many abyssal fish reduce their eyes to small sensors or lose them entirely. At depths where no sunlight ever reaches, vision becomes useless weight. Instead, bodies grow larger while senses narrow. Touch, vibration, and chemical detection replace sight. The animal grows, but awareness shrinks. It knows less about the world, not more. Few creatures illustrate distorted gigantism better than the pelican eel, also called the gulper eel. Its body is long, thin, and fragile, but its mouth is enormous, far larger than its head should allow. The jaw unhinges, the skin stretches, and the stomach expands like a balloon. This is not because it is an aggressive predator. It is because it cannot afford to be selective. When food appears in the deep, you take all of it, or you starve. The anglerfish takes gigantism in a different direction. Females grow large, slow, and solitary, while males remain tiny. In some species, the male permanently fuses to the female's body, becoming little more than a living reproductive organ. The female grows bigger, the male disappears. Gigantism here ensures that reproduction happens at all in an environment where encounters are rare and unpredictable. And then there are the animals that barely move. Giant sea cucumbers, some over a meter long, sprawl across the abyssal floor like living conveyor belts. They process sediment grain by grain, feeding on microbial films rather than prey. Their size allows them to digest enormous volumes of low-energy material without speed or aggression. They do not hunt. They endure. Their gigantism is passive, almost plant-like. Many deep-sea fish have reduced bone density, flexible spines, and muscles that feel unfinished by surface standards. Pressure does the work that structure once did. Remove that pressure, and the body collapses. These animals are only functional where they live. Outside their environment, they fail instantly. This is why deep-sea gigantism feels so unsettling. A sperm whale or an elephant still looks complete. Its size enhances strength, symmetry, and control. A deep-sea giant looks stretched, softened, and compromised, not because evolution failed, but because elegance is expensive, and the abyss cannot afford it. If you enjoy watching nature abandon strength in favor of survival, feel free to like and subscribe. If you want to see how gravity and chemistry can be just as lethal as teeth, watch the underwater waterfalls that kill everything it touches.